Next is a class from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-Lila, Volume 8, Chapter 20, Text 137 through 142, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded in November of 1966 in New York.
न साधयति मान जोग न शांख धर्म उद्धवा न साध्याय तपस्याग यथा भक्ति नमोर्जिता. So if you want God, Krsna, then there is no other way except this devotional service. Neither joke, neither philosophical speculation, neither ritualistic performances, nor study in the Vedic literature, neither penance, austerities, all these formulas which are recommended for transcendental realization, they may help us to advance to a certain extent, but if you want personal touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you have to adopt this devotional service, Krishna consciousness. There is no other way. The Lord Chaitanya is giving evidence from Srimad-Bhagavatam. He is giving Bhakta Homikaya Grahya Siddhatma Priya Sata Bhakti Punati Mannischa Sapatan Apisambhavat. There is another verse in the Srimad-Bhagavatam. The Lord says, the same chapter in which Lord Krsna instructed Uddhava. Uddhava was also one of his cousin brothers in the family. He was a great devotee, Uddhava. He was more advanced than Arjuna. There are different grades of devotees. The first class devotees were the gopis, the dancers of Vrindavan. Nobody could be compared with their devotional service. So, next were Uddhava, then Arjuna. There are different grades of devotees also. So Uddhava was also a great devotee of Lord, and he was also instructed similarly, just like Arjuna was instructed. So the Lord says to Uddhava, Bhakta hum ekaya grahya. Ekaya, simply by devotional service, one. This is one method. God is one, and to achieve Him, the process is also one. Just like in your body, there are many holes, 9 holes. 9 holes. These 2 nostrils, 2 ear, 2 eyes, 1 mouth, and genital and evacuation. These 9 holes. So, if you want to supply foodstuff within your body, that is the one way. This is the mouth. There is no other way. You cannot push the foodstuff through ears or eyes or your genital. No, that is not possible. Therefore, similarly, if you want God, then the one way, Bhakta Aham Ekaya, Ekaya. The foolish person says that whatever path you may adopt, you will go to God. There are certain rascals, they say like that. But this is misleading, completely misleading. You cannot, reach God by any other means except this means, this Bhakta Aham Ekaya. It is clearly said, Ekaya. Ekaya means only one. There is no second process. And the Bhagavad Gita also, it is stated, you will find in the 18th chapter, Bhaktya mam vijanati javan jachami tattvatah. Tattvatah. Tattvatah means in fact. Impersonal conception of Godhead, localized conception of Godhead, or universal form of Godhead, pantheism, monism, they are not perfect. If you want to know perfectly, then bhakti, it is stated everywhere, in all Vedic literature. Evidentially, in Bhagavad Gita, which is spread before us, in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, everywhere you find this only way, the devotional service. Bhaktya-mam abhijanati javan jachyami tattva. Tattva means in fact. Partially you can know, but complete. Of course, God cannot be known in complete, but the highest point a human being or a living entity can reach, that the only process to bhakti. Bhakta hami ko yagraya Sadhyatma priyasthata. Sadhyatma priyasthata. That bhakti, that process of devotional service is very dear to the actual transcendentalist. Very dear. Bhakti punati mannishtha. Mannishtha. To know simply, I believe in God, that is not sufficient. The ultimate goal is to attain very intimate relationship or love of God. That is required. Of course, to know, to believe in God, to accept God, that is all right. It is better than the atheist. But that is not end. You must develop yourself. You should not simply make God as your order supplier, but you should be order supplier. When I become order supplier to God, that is my perfection. And so long I keep God as my order supplier, that is not bhakti. Generally, people keep God as his order supplier. Oh God, give us our daily bread. Oh God, I am in distress. Oh God, I am in difficulty. Oh God, God supplies them. God is supplying. Eka bahunam vidadati kaman. But that is not ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is that you should supply God. God will be dependent on you. That is what. Just like Jasodama, he was so advanced in devotion that God became dependent on her. God appeared as a child. As a child always remains dependent on the mercy of the mother. Similarly, Krsna, before his foster mother, Jasodama, just like dependent. Mother says, my dear child, if you become more naughty, then I shall chastise you. And God is crying. You see, these are the relationship between God and the devotee. You see, one who chastises the whole universe, whole creation, he is afraid of his mother. He becomes dependent, and he likes. It is said in the Shastra that when my devotee thinks me dependent on him, I like that. I like that. People always worship God as the sublime, but the devotee, they do not worship. They want to serve God as dependent, just like mother serves the child as dependent. There is no purpose The mother is satisfied simply by keeping the child in perfect order. Yes, there is no purpose. Similarly, when we shall be inclined to see that he is always satisfied, that is the case. Then you can have God in your grip. You see. God is so kind, Krishna is so kind, then he becomes just ajitopi. Nobody can conquer him. But he becomes conquered by this kind of devotional service. Ajitopi jitapasi. He becomes conquered. This is the process of conquering. What is the use of becoming one with God? You can conquer him. You can have him within your grip. Such is the process, devotional service. It is stated. Yes. Ataya, therefore, Lord Chaitanya concludes, Ataya bhakti Krishna prapti rupa. Therefore, if you want Krishna, then bhakti, the devotional service is the only way. Ataya bhakti Krishna prapti rupa, abhideya bolitare sattvasattvaya. Abhideya means that is the transaction. So, in this life, while we are in the material world, so we have our material body, that this devotional service, Krishna consciousness, doing everything in Krishna consciousness, this is just like what is called apprenticeship to reach that higher stage. The same thing will be there in your liberated stage in the spiritual kingdom. And here, by the order of the Shastra, by the guidance of the spiritual master, you are being trained up as apprentice. This is called avidya. Avidya, practice. Practice. But even in practice, we will feel that I am making progress. It is such a avidya, bodhitare sadvasattvaya. And धोन पाइले जैसे सुख भोग फल पाए सुख भोग हईते दुख अपनी फलाए तैछे भक्ति फले कृष्णा प्रेम उपजाए प्रेमे कृष्णा साध हईले भवनाशाय. Very important passage. Just note it carefully. Now, by apprenticeship, by practice, if one sincerely follows this practice, then what is the result? The dhon paile jaise sukho bhaga phal paye. It's like a poor man. If he gets sufficient money, then at once his all distress is over. At once, immediately. Simultaneously. As soon as the sun is in the sky, at once the darkness is gone. Just in the morning. Little, not sun directly, but if there is sunshine far away, immediately the darkness goes. I am in distress, I am in poverty stricken. Suppose I get immediately some large amount of money, immediately my distress. Exactly like that, and dhon paile jaise sukho bhaga phal paye. Then automatically he becomes happy. Like poor man when he gets money. Similarly, as soon as we have little taste of this devotional service, at once all our miserable life becomes happy. At once, yes. Sukha bhav haite dukkha apani pala. And if there is happiness, where is the question of misery? If there is light, where there is question of darkness. So, a person in Krishna consciousness, he cannot be in distress of material misery. It goes automatically. Automatically. Taiche bhakti bhale Krishna prema puja. Similarly, by execution of this devotional service, gradually you develop love of God. love of God. And Prema Krishna Sadhaile Bhavanas. And as soon as you get a taste for Krishna, you at once lose all these nonsense tastes, culminating into sex life. The material taste means we want to gratify senses in so many ways. And the supermost point is sex life. So as soon as you get into touch with Krishna and you develop Krishna love, all this nonsense finishes. Then you are delivered. And so long you are attached even to a pinch of material taste. There is no question of liberation from material misery. You have to continue this transmigration from one body to another. And body means material misery. The material body means material misery. You may get the body of a king, or you may get the body of Brahma, or Indra, Chandra, or the ant, or the insignificant animal, any body, any material body, that is meant for misery. Misery. Tapatraya. Threefold material miseries, and besides that threefold miseries, ultimately birth, death, old age and disease. So, to develop love of Krishna means that is real liberation, and that love of Krishna begins after many births of cultural life. Bhaunam janmanamante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlava. When one surrenders unto Krishna, that is the beginning of his real life. And as he makes progress, then he realizes, I have several times discussed this point, Adu Shraddha. First thing is that I must get myself out of this material contamination. That is called Shraddha. In this very life, I shall realize this Shraddha, this belief and this determination, as you make more and more perfect, you make advance. You make advance. Not as official, not as make show, but really, Adu Sadhya, Tato Sadhu Sangha. Then as you are determined, so your taste for associating with devotees, just like we are now associating with Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya's teaching, is a great devotee. This is called Sadhu Sangha. Adu Sadhya Tato Sadhu Sangha Tata Bhajana Kriya. Then Bhajana Kriya, how to execute. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching, you will gradually know what is the Bhajana Kriya, how to execute devotional service. That we shall come later on. Tata anartha-nivrittisya, and as soon as your devotional service prescribed duties are discharged, you become free from all material contamination. That is the test. Tatanartha-nivrittisya, tatunishta, then you become farmik and weak, farmik and lean, tatunishta, taturuchi, then test, tatha shakti, then you cannot give it up at any circumstances, you cannot give it up. Tatha shakti, tato bhava, then you become fully in samadhi, in trance, sadhakanam ayam primo prasna. These are the steps of attaining love of God. Love of God is not that you can immediately go and purchase from the market, in the store. You have to practice. The love is there within you. It is not artificial, neither an imposition by some person. No, it is already there. If you kindly become submissively hearing this, by hearing only, and if you practice, it will be very nice and quickly we shall So hearing and practicing. Sevanmukhi jivhadu. Kirtan, savanam kirtanam, jivhadu. Sevanmukhi jivhadu. This tongue, especially meant tongue. Tongue should be engaged. Jivhadu. How? Tongue should be engaged in glorifying. That is one business. And tongue should be engaged for eating Krsna prasad. These two things, chanting and eating. That is Sevanmukhi jivhadu. As soon as you submissively engage your tongue, just see the technique. No other body, no other part. The tongue has been specially mentioned. And what is the business of tongue? I am speaking now with the help of tongue. If there was no tongue, I could not talk with it. And another, I taste. So engage your tasting capacity of the tongue in Krsna prasad and engage your tongue in talking of Krishna, then this is the purpose. Sevanmukhi jivhadu sameva sratada. And as you engage them in this process, God is revealed to you. You cannot order God, come, please come and please stand up, I shall see you. He is not your servant. You have to please him by your service attitude. Then he will reveal to you what he is. And that is all. That is all. Vaite bhakti bhale Krishna prem pada. If you execute the devotional service, then you develop that love. And as soon as Krishna prema asad bhaile, bhavana aspire. And as soon as you develop the more, the proportionate way of, you develop love of Krishna, love of God, proportionately you are free from this material contamination. When you are perfectly in Krishna love, you are perfectly free from material contamination. This is the way of liberation. Daridranash bhavakkhay prema phal noy, prem sugh bhoga mukha prayojana. So one should not think that now I am materially happy. Oh, my all distress, my all poverty has gone by Krishna, by devotional service of Krishna. Or I have become liberated. No. These are byproducts. To become liberated and to become materially happy by prosecution of Krishna consciousness is a byproduct. You have to attend for that. And what is that? Prema sukha bhog. You shall be absorbed in love of Krishna. That is your requirement. That's the ultimate goal of life. So we should not stop. Oh, now I am very happy. Now I have no material misery. Or I am liberated. Now this material contamination does not affect me. No. When he will be so much absorbed in love of God, just like Lord Chaitanya thought, Chakshusha pravishayitam sannayitam jagat sadmam govindam virayena. Govindam virayena. Oh, I am crying. Just my tears coming. There's torrents of rain from my eyes. Sunnayitam jagat sarvam. I am seeing everything vacant. Why? Govinda virahena me. In separation of Govinda. That is highest stage of love. Govinda virahena. Just like in this material world, if you love somebody and if he is dead and past and gone, you see everything vacant. Then the taste of that Govinda viraha. But we are foolish, we know that everything will be finished here. Why shall I give so much attachment to this nonsense? Give your attachment to Krishna, he will never be finished. So that is love of Krishna. We have to attain that stage. Yes, that is the perfection of life. Thank you.